Tele-MANAS and Tele-MANAS ChatBot. We are honored to announce that Jammu and Kashmir UT is the first region in the country to have this chatbot based on Tele-MANAS. So we are greatly proud of this, and we greatly are honored to have the guests from NHM and IMHANS who will be talking about various aspects of mental health and particularly the Tele-MANAS and Tele-MANAS chatbot. So before we invite experts, I request Dr. Shazia Manzoor, Head Department of Social Work, to welcome the guests.
Assalamu alaikum and a very good morning to all of you. As you know that we have assembled for a very important program. It is a sensitization program, a program of a very short duration, because the purpose is to just inform Tele-MANAS, the information, spreading the information of toll-free number and also the chatbot. When we have any health issue with the other parts of our body, we rush to doctors. But when it comes to mental health, we go here and there. We many a times go to faith healers, go to many places. Even many doctors and psychiatrists say that no harm in going to the faith healers, but it should not impact your health. It should not be at the cost of your health. So this India's first Tele-MANAS chatbot. I think this is a very important opportunity, and we should be thankful to our Chancellor, the LG UTJNK, for launching this Tele-MANAS and taking personal interest in it. I believe that all of you today who are sitting in this hall can spread this message that it's not necessary that you fall in that category of mental health where you really need to see a psychiatrist. Everyday stressors, everyday issues, with a small coping ability, we can make a difference in our life, and we can make a difference in the life of others around us.
Thank you, ma'am. Spreading the message is the key message from this dais. Now I request Professor Neelofar Khan, Honorable Vice Chancellor, to give her presidential remarks.
Thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. Keeping in view the importance of this particular program that has been initiated by our Honorable LG and Chancellor of the University, I at once called Dr. Shazia and told her that we will have this particular program. We are, of course, very grateful to the Honorable LG for thinking of this particular program, which is very much needed in in our society, and I'm sure that with the collaboration of Department of Social Work, it will not be restricted only to the youth who are in academic institutions. It will also reach to the community. I will definitely like that Dr. Shazia, you also play a role in this, how it reaches to the community. I'm sure the Department of Health, who have started this particular program, they must have a scheme about it, but I would definitely like that university also plays its role. And I'm happy that we have good number of students over here. The message will go down the line. I would definitely like to like that all students are informed about it, so that if they come to know about any case in their vicinity, in their neighborhood, in their classrooms, amongst their friends, in general observation, at once they guide them, they counsel them where to go. And a very well thought of program by our state UT, and I'm sure that it will be very successful. And the basic aim that it has is because everyone cannot reach to the doctor, and this is the age of technology. Everyone has a mobile phone in hand. Takes just few minutes to give a call and be benefited by this particular counseling, health counseling or health program. And in this, if University of Kashmir has to play any other role, we'll definitely do it. We have our satellite campuses also. I would definitely like that we reach there also, and again I say I congratulate our UT government for taking this initiative. Especially we are grateful to our Honorable LG. Our UT has again taken the initiative to be the first amongst the country to have this particular scheme. Similarly, we were first in the country to implement national education policy. From this, keeping in view the benefits of this scheme, please feel free anytime. If any type of collaboration is needed, we'll definitely do it. And Dr. Shazia is very prompt in taking actions. I congratulate her and her team for doing so, and wish you all the best. Thank you.
It's always a pleasure to be in university. Having lots of friends, students, particularly in the social work department. I've grown with this department. In fact, many of them have been my, when I was doing my post-graduation, they simultaneously were students doing their rotatory internships in my department. It was not a department that it was a very, I can't describe that, how it was, but we used to do a very quality work even that time together. I was a lone postgraduate and all, Samia, lots of you have been there in our department. Talking about mental health, in fact, was stigma that time. People will not listen to you. From there on, when mental health is a buzzword everywhere, you hear to it. People call you to talk about mental health. In fact, I almost stopped actually going to places to talk about, because there are lots of my younger colleagues who do that now. But this is very, very important to us, the Tele-MANAS and the Tele-Mental Health outreach. All of us know now, there was time when we had discussions, debates about it. Is mental health really a problem or not? Pre-COVID, in fact, there was a lot of settling of this issue, but COVID almost settled it, because once COVID came, it did not bring the COVID infection. With its got the mental health burden increased hugely, along with the economic joblessness and other burdens. So the focus on mental health became a priority. And if you look at global burden of diseases currently, you know that it's huge in terms of numbers. Out of the 10 first commonest mental illnesses in the burden producing illness in the world, 6 are purely psychiatric illnesses. Not only that, if you look, depression is currently one of the commonest illnesses which the world is encountering. It's the common cold of the modern world. I never thought in my life that at some point of time I'll be this busy in psychiatry. In spite of the fact that I knew that number of people with mental health is increasing. I start seeing patients in morning at 10, I start my work. I usually finish at 10 in the evening. And most of my friends will complain that no new appointments happen, we cannot go, we cannot sneak in. And just because of the sheer numbers. And I tell you that still the reachability is less. The numbers we are seeing, all of us, the mental health professionals, there's still an iceberg phenomenon in the community going on. It's still the tip of the iceberg we are seeing. When we did our own survey in 2017 and the National Mental Health Survey which Bangalore conducted over the country, we had almost same point prevalence of illnesses. Means we found out 11.3 and they had 10.6% of illnesses. But to us, we thought that with kind of Institute of Mental Health we made, number of psychiatrists we produced, the gap would have lessened. Because almost all districts have a psychiatrist now, clinical psychologists have spread, private clinics of psychiatrists are there. We thought that the gap would have definitely lessened. But to our, against our what we thought and wished, because we thought that we have done lots of work in mental health, and because of that, now this gap would have lessened. But it was untrue. The National Health Survey actually found out that there's a gap of 83% still in mental health. We found out that there was a gap of 93% in our place. Now, National Mental Health Survey actually did also have UP, Bihar, where there are very less mental health professionals spread in that large population. But we have a smaller population, and I had thought that this gap would have lessened with psychiatrists available. More surprising for me as a professional, because I knew that for us, for mental health issues, some kind of spiritual caring was the first aid usually which people used to avail in, when I was a child. I found that people are not even availing that. There was just, people have just abandoned taking first aid for mental health. And that was very alarming for us. That in spite of the facilities available, in spite of the fact that we think that lots of people are coming to seek help, there is such a large gap of people which are still having mental health illnesses. And I'm not talking here about the kind of issues we are going to address through the mental health, the Tele-MANAS health. I'm actually talking about the hardcore mental health illnesses. So the gap in hardcore mental health illnesses was so high, 93%. And we started thinking of various ways and means of actually lessening this gap. One of the ways we thought of lessening is that we wrote a project to NIHM and thought that by writing that project to National Rural Health Mission and to UNICEF and to many others, that we will bring in, because COVID taught us that tele-mental health is a possibility. And we thought that probably that's the reason we could actually set up tele-mental health centers and lessen it. We wrote that project probably in 2018. We had sent it to Dr. Haru and to the ministry. But obviously it takes some time for them to convince people. But before they could convince, in fact, the country came with a large tele-mental health project. And for us, it was really, we really think that this is an idea of the future. Idea of the future because of simple reasons. That one, that I like it or not, I don't like actually being on the digital world. My ideal world still is when we meet physically, when we talk physically, when we do everything physically. That's a very idealistic position I actually take about it. But then I also know and understand that that's not how my young people are. That's not how the next generation are. I might be a great critic of ChatGPT, but it still is going to come and overtake us. I might be a critic of how people live in the digital world now, but that's not how the world will move. The world will still move in the same direction as it's moving. So the digital world is a reality. One that the world in which the people are living, you need to have all health there, and you need to have the mental health as well there. And second, that as I said, that there's such a huge gap in mental health, and this is probably one of the best ways to actually bridge that gap in a country where there are billions of users of mobile phone and at least probably 800,000 million users of the smartphones. So probably with this kind of reachability, you could actually reach almost every home by having presence in the tele world, in the digital world, and then people having access to this world. Because we always had the two buzzwords from WHO usually used to be that there's no health without mental health, and we have to make mental health available, accessible, and acceptable to the people. Where we have been able to actually do it largely for the physical health, but for the mental health, this has never been a reality. Look at somebody in Grace. In winter, if there's a gynecological issue or an obstetric issue, the female can be evacuated and taken to anywhere for very good facilities. If somebody has a cardiac arrest, he could actually land in Skims within half an hour. But if somebody has a psychosis or a mania, neither that plane is going to give him a boarding pass, nor the doctors, they will be knowing how to treat him. And look at that family struggling with that patient for 1 month or 2 months when the whole road is closed without treatment. The deterioration in the quality of life of that whole family, that person. And look at the Tele-MANAS now. A simple mobile call from that doctor to a Tele-MANAS counselor that I have a patient in front of me who has this. He transferring this call to a psychiatrist, and the psychiatrist guiding him there only at that point of time for treatment. And look at the impact it will make to that family, to that person who otherwise has to struggle for this treatment for at least 2 months. A person in Kupara, a distant village in Kupara, and the stories I'm telling you are real ones from the Tele-MANAS, who just missed a dose of a medication in the evening, went to the dispensary there to tell them that what should I do now? Nobody has a clue, because mental health is not taught at MBBS level with that fervence as other subjects are. So it's a post-graduation level teaching. And he picks up mobile phone, gives a call to the counselor. First the counselor reassures him, nothing's going to go, gets his anxiety down. If he or she feels that she needs to be transferred to clinical, it goes to a clinical psychologist. If not him or her, then to a psychiatrist as well. And he gets that available. And that's what I say, available, accessible, and acceptable. Available at times where you can't get help. Mid of the night, somebody gets panic. If you go to SKIMS, 90% of people who visit SKIMS at night do not have any physical illness. They visit because of various mental health issues, commonest being a panic attack. Commonest. And very ill-treated, because the doctor there is already burdened with an MI, with a stroke. Now here comes something for which he does not have an explanation. An electrocardiogram normal means his heart is normal. Even though the person's soul is aching, he can't find it in a test. He can't find it in a test. He doesn't have answers. And look at that, this girl or this father has availability of calling somebody and telling him that my son or daughter has what should I do? At the odd of the midnight. At the odd hour in the midnight. So, the reachability and the accessibility and the availability at the times when you do not have help actually available makes Tele-MANAS a very unique initiative. And, whatever I'm telling you, we were able to actually publish the Srinagar Center, the Institute of Mental Health, is the first to publish anything about the Tele-MANAS. And we were actually able to publish that in Lancet. We were able to put the ideas I'm telling you in the Lancet and telling people in the whole world that we were actually talking about having availability, accessibility, and availability from a long time of mental health. Probably we're not able to do it. Probably this, I'm still saying probably because there's something might look wonderful idea at the beginning. It might not go that way. But the idea looks fantastic. People present now in digital world most of the times. Availability of the gadgets and accessibility of the people to address the needs at that particular point of time. The idea looks great. It needs to be utilized. Now, issue with us is that in contrast to why did Dr. Harun did this, asked us to do these seminars. I actually had thought that we will start doing what I call as mental health town halls in almost all universities. That was besides Tele-MANAS. But before that, we could actually settle that. Harun came with this idea that why don't we start talking to students about, and he particularly asked me at least do in University of Kashmir, USL. Started, and then we have lots of younger people who could actually carry on this work and do it at other place. The idea was that in contrast to other centers, we have two unique features. One, that we are still getting 80% calls from our existing patients who do not have mental health available, help available at particular person. So they are calling. Only 20% new people are calling. One is that. And second, that most of our callers are females, which is a good thing actually. The other one is not that too good for us. Because the idea of Tele-MANAS was not actually only about illnesses and diseases. In fact, all the seminars me and Harun attended, they will keep on telling that people who will call will be with minor exam के लिए prepare कर रहा है, थोड़ा सा stressful feel कर रहा है, who to talk to. घर में थोड़ा सा issue हुआ, ठीक है, relationship में थोड़ा सा issue हुआ, किससे बात करूं. So that kind of calls we expected more to come. And we thought that probably why is not happening, but now ads, probably Dr. Harun floated ads in all newspaper front pages for many days, but people do not probably read now newspapers, so this is something. People do not read now newspapers, so it's not so. So we thought that we should reach out to students, go to them, talk to them, that it's your line, it's your helpline, utilize it. I understand that by doing this, we're going to increase numbers hugely. There might be rush there, but then help will come. You might have to wait for some time, but somebody will be there to talk to you, at least professionally. Because what happens, most of the people think in this world that counseling is one of the most benign things, so anybody can do it. You know? I think there was a recently article, probably Adil might have read it, this was probably in Washington, that from some probably Hindustan Times or India Today, it was in Hindu, that from dentists to everybody has stopped their profession and they have become mental health counselors. If anybody is interested, I can send you at least 20 papers which actually strongly say that unprofessional counseling could be more harmful than side effects of medications. World has not moved in wrong direction ever because of medications. If world has ever moved in wrong direction, it has been because of words. That's the power of words. All of us should know that. And when it happens in chambers, in one-to-one, nobody else knows what the words were exchanged, it could have devastating effects on that person. If people are not professionally trained, Harun will tell you that I did, in spite of he had lots of pressures that we start the call, I did not let him to have the real call till I was myself convinced that the people will now be able to take call in real sense. I couldn't do that because I knew it's. And what's the effect of that? The effect is this, that currently his center is ranked quality-wise, thought to be first in the country. Quantitatively, we are a very small state. We are always oscillating in first three positions between Maharashtra, Tamil Nadu, but quality-wise, NIMHANS has the first case, NIMHANS coordinates it. So the first case presentation to be done about a mental health, about the Tele-MANAS, so they asked the Srinagar Center to do the honors. WHO team is coming to India to inspect various public health initiatives. They asked them to go to the Srinagar Center. Nothing, because of no reason, no specialty. Because what we did is we are trying to invest in their training. They should be able to do justice to the job. This is, you might not think it, but this many a times is life of a person at stake who is on the other side of the call. And so counseling cannot be many of you are from social work background, you will be understanding what I actually am talking. It cannot be anybody's, it has to be very, very professional. And I'll end with this, that we want more people to call, not for diseases and illnesses. Probably help for diseases and illnesses is available at other places. As I told you that we have now psychiatrists exploring. We produce around 12 psychiatrists per year. We produce around 8 clinical psychologists per year. I'm actually talking about first aids, ready first aids. When you have it, you have somebody to talk to and lessen your anxiety. The first thing, as happens in physical health, Kashmiri है ना सब, ये ले जंगन दूर च तमी सच मोर्दुन बोल का, 2 दिन के बाद मोर्दुन बोल आएगा तो उससे कोई फायदा ही नहीं. So yem sat zangan dot tam such more than so the same zang dot happens to the brain as well. Brain is the more special organ than any other organ. What we are is what our brain is.
Taboo associated with mental health per se is that we do not want to go to a doctor. Why? Why do not we want to approach a doctor for any mental health illnesses? Anybody? Let's make it a two-way interaction. This is not a monologue. So why do we not approach a doctor, go to a psychiatric hospital, go to a psychiatrist per se? Why? Stigma. Absolutely. Because we think कि अगर इस पागल अस्पताल का सो ऐसे तो निश पागल. Simple as it is. Very crude as it is. If I go, everybody has some or the other form of depression, anxiety, We all brave through our lives, through different phases. We have our own problems, we have our own impediments in life. But we do not, share these problems with anybody. And what subsequently happens is that there is accumulation of this psyche inside of us, and subsequently it comes out as a vent. It comes out as a vent as aggression. It comes out as a vent as other anomalies. As you all know, we have a huge drug addiction in this part of the country. Very huge. I don't want to go into drug addiction because this is not my topic today. But I tell you, since I am heading the mental health for J&K, it is huge. The burden is huge, that it is really alarming in this part of the world. Subsequent to what all of us know. So that is the reason the government of India envisaged a wonderful program called Tele-MANAS. That means we do not need to go to the doctor. We do not go and stand in huge queues, as Dr. Arshid said, and wait for 2 to 3 hours for a simple anxiety. Which has anxiety because of any problems. I have relationship issues, I have a breakup, I have issues with my parents, I have monetary problems, I have other societal issues, or I have problems with my studies. I'm not able to understand a subject. That happens. I also, in my medical days, even in my post-graduation days, I didn't understand some subject. It was such a torture, literally, as I say. I would be better in a lot of subjects, but I would not understand specific subjects because of any reason. I won't grasp it. So this is also a part of stress. So that is why we came to Tele-MANAS. Now what is this Tele-MANAS? I'll just quickly go to the structure of Tele-MANAS. Tele-MANAS is a helpline where from the cozy rooms, from the cozy kitchens, from the premises or from the gardens of your university, if you have any specific issues which are related to mental health, you can pick up your phone, Android phone, and you can call. Simple as it is. And you can discuss with the first line, that is the counselors. These counselors are trained at NIMHANS. They're all very, 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 they've been doing a wonderful job. They're professionals. They will listen to you. They will listen to whatever you have to say. Rational, irrational, logical, illogical. You have anything you have to say, they will listen. They will not rebut you. They will not tell you, why have you called? This is not my domain to answer. You just try it. That's my point. Then they will listen to you. Then they will try to give you a solution. They will try to counsel you for whatever reason you're calling to them. And if they're not able to do it, that can also happen. Your problem can be very serious, or it can be something different. Then comes the next level. They will refer your call to a clinical psychologist who is better trained, who has a better comprehension of the mental health illnesses, and that person, that lady or guy would take your call. You will start the conversation with him, you will explain to him what is your problem. If clinical psychologist is not able to address your issues, the next level will go to a junior consultant who is an MD psychiatry, who has 10 to 15 years of experience in psychiatry, as Dr. Arshid has, or he's much senior to them. He's heading the program there. And then it goes to Dr. Arshid, it goes to HOD, it goes to other people. And we don't stop here also. And now, for example, we are not convinced that this particular lady, this particular child, this particular guy has been able to give help, we are not able to give help. Then comes to one-on-one counseling. then we'll call this particular one person to our psychiatric hospital, because at that point in time, this caller would be convinced कि वंश में hospital. Yeah. So this is the structure. This we started on 4th of the November officially, although we had started it much before, 1.5 months. But we, as Arshit said, we did not start it. We did a lot of work, homework. We did a lot of demi calls. I asked a lot of people, a lot of bureaucrats, a lot of journalists, a lot of other students to call the number and see the quality of the calls. If we are convinced that this counselor, this doctor is able to give that professional help, then only we'll start the helpline. And subsequently, after 1.5 months of trial, we were convinced that yes, we should go ahead with Tele-MANAS in Jammu and Kashmir. And we officially inaugurated, as VC ma'am said, we officially inaugurated and Honorable LG kick-started it. At that point in time, to be very frank and honest, hands on my heart, I did not know how well it would go. To our surprise, in the very first week, we were stuffed with calls. People were calling like anything. Although there was no communication strategy at that point in time. We had not gone to papers, we had not gone to RJs, we had not gone to radio, TV, nowhere. Still, the need was so much that people are calling. Then we started, as Dr. Archie said, we started to give front page ads, we started to give other things, even in social media I started to give. But at a point in time we thought that fine, people read newspapers, people even see your TVs, but that's not enough. We need to go and talk to people. Because this is such a wonderful thing, as Dr. Archie said, technically. This is something that एक डॉक्टर आपके घर में ही बैठा है, एक फोन घुमाने की जरूरत है. So this is all about, this is located at IMHANS, as you know, Institute of Mental Health, which is at the Government Psychiatric Hospital. You know that place? Yes. All of you? Yes. All right. And you will be surprised and amazed to see that we are number 1, number 2 in the country in the total number of calls received. We have crossed 20,000 calls in just mere 5 or 7 months. Why do you think? What is the reason? I'll go to the Tele-MANAS chatbot subsequently. That's the catch. Why? Anybody?
So this is the reflection of the kind of health.
Absolutely. Wonderful. This is a reflection of the mental health status prevalent in the UT. A lot of people wanted to talk, but they had no platform to talk. They didn't know where to go, whom to call, how to seek help. And I tell you, still a lot of people don't know. I'll say even 20% people know about Tele-MANAS, even less than. So how important is the propagation and the dissemination of the information? That's why we are here. That's why I personally am here. How important is that? How important is that we start from the epitome of knowledge, that is the KU, and how important is that you be the sort of the lighting lamps, that will disseminate, is my point. And that is why I thought, okay, let us go directly first. This is the first of its so-called workshop or small sensitization program. In the KU, we have not started. We are contemplating to go to other places also as well. But this is something where we want to start. Because we have great regard for this institution. The amount of work that all of you people are doing is commendable.
First, we should congratulate and we should be thankful to our Honorable Chancellor and Lieutenant Governor for inaugurating this wonderful, particularly the interactive online mechanism on the social media or general. You know that when Shahzad talked about that people don't want to go to doctors because it is stigma associated to it. That is true. We have done a lot of programs earlier also on the drug addiction where the people from psychiatry department were here. But as an administrator, we will see that
today's program, what Harun Sahab was talking about, I have found it that what we call in our own terminology, we call it turnkey projects. Normally we call what is turnkey projects. Turnkey projects, we say that if we have to construct a building, for example, today we are doing a girls' hostel or boys' hostel. In that turnkey, we take everything into consideration. We take the building into consideration, we take into the logistic support into consideration, beds, extra everything. Then we take the kitchen into consideration, even dining hall into consideration, even the chairs required in the dining hall into consideration, and it is a holistic or the turnkey project. Wonderfully done. I have first time seen that a government has done a project with a lot of probably the prior work and prior research. We normally say that before doing any launching any program, we should go for some research, particularly when we have to go for the action research. In action research, what we do, because I have left the subject long back now, but we see the problem in the society where the shoe pinches. We go there, we identify the problem, and then only we take the research so that it can be target oriented. So probably you have seen that it is wonderfully managed and wonderfully crafted. We have asked the questions about your identification, about the chatbot, about the even to verbally call, telephonically call on this free toll-free number. So I today asked when Shazia came to me about this program that they want to come to Kashmir University to have the first maiden session on this chatbot. So I am thankful to them that chosen the University of Kashmir at the first spot to have interaction with the students. Then I asked, we have particularly in social sciences and sociology, we have we go for the sampling, whether it will be random sampling or stratified random sampling. I asked Shazia that let us go again for the sampling. We will call 5 to 10 students from each department so that they can be present here and they will listen to the presentation by Dr. Arshid, who was a renowned doctor. Dr. Harun is a renowned doctor in psychiatry. So the reason to call the 5 to 10 students was not that God forbid you are suffering from the psychiatric issues. The reason to call you was that so that you can become what Harun was telling, that you can become the ambassadors in our departments. You can disseminate the message today's, which was talked by Dr. Harun and Dr. Arshid, particularly about the toll-free number and the chatbot application. My request to the students, to both males and females, will be that you apprise and you disseminate this information about your own departments, particularly in the hostelers, whether it is girls or boys hostel. In the departments also, most probably there will be one student representing to each department. If not, most probably we have cross sections of friends also. Most probably social work will be having in the friends in the science department also. You can talk to them. My request to the students will be that this is a wonderful program, this is a wonderful application, and my request will be to disseminate it among the students at the University of Kashmir. Particularly when Harun was talking about that, what are the far-off repercussions of the mental health. If it is not available, in mental peace is not available at a home, at the family level, you see whole family disturbing. When it comes to the individual, for example, father and mother, he is always under stress because of his child. Then again the repercussions are the drug abuse and drug addiction. It is because of the mental health. Then again the repercussions what Harun Sahab was talking about, then because the expenditure and income doesn't match, so there are issues of crime which have gone to a much larger extent in our own society also nowadays. So there are n number of issues associated with the mental health, and wonderfully that we have what was Harun Sahab has given a wonderful presentation. There were certain issues which were raised by students. I'm happy that students have raised also a few critical issues, particularly about the identification and other issues of this application. And I would request the doctors, because when we were students, I was a student here in 1992. We आप हु करते अभी मैं बूढ़ा नहीं हो गया, not very. So what we used to do, there was only one doctor, that was Dr. Mushtaq outside. His clinic was just outside this university in Sadrabal Gate. So because there were limited number of doctors available in whole J&K, Dr. Mushtaq was one among them. If you see, if we used to go outside to have tea, because our hostels were on this side only, scholars hostel, then nowadays CCPC was our boys hostel those days. We used to go outside the gate for tea. So a tea shop was just adjacent to it is still there, Dr. Mushtaq's clinic is still there. One tea shop is still existing there, one tea shop has been closed. So we used to go there and we used to see the patient, a psychiatric patient is there. A single psychiatric patient was having almost 5, 6, 8, 10 members of his family with him or her, because they go out of control. What Harun Sahab was telling about simple if it would have been come to me, I would have slapped him. Simple. But you see the patience of doctors, what they are doing a wonderful job. So I have myself, we have witnessed the situation of psychiatric patients outside our gate. So there are a lot of issues associated with this mental health. I am hopeful that the present application will be used, and one among the positive benefits of technology. Otherwise, we use it for negative benefits on negative issues only. I have been to very recently. I have been to US 2 years back. I don't know. I have never seen in US, to be honest with you, during the day anybody on phone, chatting, talking on the phone. Though they have invented this device, never have seen. But in Kashmir or in developing countries or developed countries, you will see everybody on phone, from a rag picker to the highest businessman or the highest academician. But definitely they are not normally chatting on the phone. Here in Kashmir, we can take this positive application or positive aspect of this interactive board on this, and I am hopeful that what is the situation in Kashmir at present, because of certain reasons for the last turmoil of 30 years, and then unemployment is also an issue. There are a lot of issues in our society which have creeped in. So I am hopeful that inshallah this application will definitely help us.